support. Whoop, whoop. So we are also live on YouTube, whatever. People will chime in at some point. But so guys, so this is going to be our teaser for the podcast that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be bringing on my cousin because we're hilarious together and it's going to be funny. So we got this. We were just on TikTok and it was a complete shit show. We were trying to figure out how to do it together, but apparently she doesn't have the following yet, which I didn't know that you couldn't as a guest, because it's not like you're going live, like you're going live, but you're going live on somebody else's. So I would have thought that was like the loophole to get you in. And then we were trying to do it online, but I couldn't do it. And then I don't think we could do it together on YouTube. So, hey guys, we got a teaser today for the podcast. We're going to be talking about supernatural experiences. And we're also on Instagram if you guys are interested. So yeah, so we'll be talking about supernatural experiences today. Super excited. So yeah. Let's start it out, cousin. Let's see what it is. What have you felt, and when would you say that you started to notice, like what age did you start to notice that like there was more?
I would probably say when I was 3.
Damn, you can remember that far?
Yeah.
Okay.
It happened like when I was 3. So my mom's dad passed away when she was pregnant of me. So
okay.
Literally right when I think he died a couple months before I was born, and she had me and whatever. And then like right around 2 or 3 years old, I remember like sitting in front of like my older sister Olga had like a mirror, like a wall mirror, and I would sit in front of there and I would talk and play, And then it got to a point where my mom told me one time that I got really sick, and I remember being sick. I had like real bad fever, and I'm from a small town in Douglas, and if you guys don't know Douglas, it's just
the blip.
Super small. Like not a lot of people there, not a lot of population. So the hospital there wasn't very good. It was.
Do they have a hospital?
It's not anymore, but they used to. And so she told me, we were leaving. And it was like, I don't know, I think it was like past midnight or something. And she had me in her arms, and I was like, oh look, like my tata's over there. And then she like turned around, and she's like, and it was pitch black darkness. She's like, and I was like, fuck that, we're leaving. And she was like, no. So she got scared, and she got in the car, and then we left. So I guess her seeing me like playing like the mirror constantly, she kind of got like intrigued or interested in all that stuff. And so she went to a priest, and she's like, this is what's happening.
my daughter, exorcise her.
And she went to a priest, and then the priest was like, maybe it's just your dad just trying to spend time with her because he didn't get a chance to meet her and do all this stuff. So he's like, why don't you bring out like a photo album and just let her look at it. So yeah, and that's what she did, and she was like just kind of going through like pictures and stuff. And then she said that like when she got to I guess a part where my tata had like some pictures of him, I was like, oh, that's my tata, that's him. And then after that she was fine. So like after that she didn't bother me. Like I only saw him for a little bit, and then after that it kind of went away.
Okay.
And then I remember I don't know if you remember being in our house in Douglas, the one that had like that little chapel thing that we had in front of our house. I don't know if you ever went there when we lived in that little home. I don't know, but we had like a little capilla. It was like really cute little capilla that my uncle had made us. And across the street, my mom had a friend that we used to call Tia. It wasn't really our Tia.
Just a friend, yeah. Hey guys.
Yeah. And she always had like heart issues and stuff, so her like the ambulance was always there and stuff like that. And our window for like our kitchen was across from her house. So this one time there was an ambulance there, and it wasn't for her, it was for I don't know who it was, somebody that lived there with her. I don't know if it was like a family member or friend. But my mom had sat me there in front of the window, and I was like looking at the ambulance and stuff, and then she said that I turned to her and I told her, oh yeah, he's dead. He's not here no more. And then she's like, no, that's not true. Don't say stuff like that. And I was like, yeah. And like literally.
She was like thinking you were just being morbid, but you weren't. You felt the energy leave.
Yeah, and then I guess in that moment that they put him in the ambulance, he had passed. So yeah, I was like, what the hell? So yeah, it's always been there. It's just I feel like
Cousin.
now that I've got what?
I said, cousin. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It is crazy.
Oh
yeah.
shit. That's wild. That's wild. So then
I think
3.
my mom is just my mom has just always been like typical Mexican, like, oh, don't worry, it's nothing, and I was just like, this is really weird, Mom, like. But now she understands it now finally.
I know. She was telling Olga, she was telling your sister, like, don't listen to Olga. don't do. She's like, don't do that stuff, because Olga was like kind of wondering about doing some stuff, and then she's told her not to, and I was just like, oh god.
Yeah, my mom is just like a scaredy cat and stuff like that.
I know. See, and that's the problem, is when we're like raised like that, then like, so that's what happened. So like my first supernatural experience was the one that I can like really, really remember. There was like a woman over my bed. I was really sick too, cousin. I was really sick too. So funny that you say that. So it's almost like you're in a state of a delusion. When you get really sick and you have that fever, something's going on up here. But like, I had a really weird experience with somebody like over my bed, and the culture, the Mexican culture, La Llorona, like that was like a thing, right? And this woman was like, looked like her. So that was like my first experience at 5, and Susie remembers it. Like everybody in my family remembers it because I screamed, and like everybody had to like come into the room. But it's really strange because I don't remember that. I remember running out of the room. Like I remember running out of the room when I saw this woman, but I would see shadow people all the time. And I would tell Susie, like, I saw the thing. And she'd be like, there's nobody there, Olgi. And I'd be like, no, I just saw him go to the kitchen. What are you talking about? And it was so strange. So that was like, for me, they like my dad and my mom like never said that there was nothing there, but they never wanted to like play on it more. They were just like, my dad would have to go and check out all the things that I said. Like Susie would be freaking out. Susie would be losing her shit. So I remember this experience. We were making movies. You know us. We always made movies and stuff, right? So we were making a movie. It was actually called Annie from Hell. I was Annie, and I was like a serial killer Annie. Like we had this little red wig, like curly ass red wig that I wore, and I was like a little horror little child killing people, and that's what I was doing. And my sister and my cousin were like figuring out the next things that we were going to be doing for the movie. And I remember they were like talking, and they were like facing each other this way. And I was right in between them, facing the wall in the living room in Douglas. And I don't know if you remember my house either, but like I was like in the living room, and I was just like, I just zoned out. I remember just like disassociating, zoning out, like, and then I just saw this shadow of this man. And he had a sombrero, and he had like it looked like a machete, and he was just like walking. I saw like his profile walking from the beginning of the living room all the way into the kitchen, and like I saw him walk the whole way over. And then I was like, Susie, I just saw somebody walk into the kitchen. She freaked out. She ran down the hall. She's banging on my dad's door because he's in there with Azalia, and she tells him, and then like she stays over by the room, and I'm like, I'm not scared because I don't feel scared. So like I remember walking with my dad to the kitchen, like, yeah, I saw him over here, and there's nothing there, dude. There's nothing there. And my dad's like, there's nothing there, Susie. And my Susie has always been freaked out by me. Always been freaked out by me. Poor Susie. Like, oh god. Always, man. But same thing, like since 5, like young. So
yeah.
So like my dad never like, he never told me I didn't see anything. It's funny because nobody ever told me like, you're not seeing something. But I felt like it was just something we didn't talk about. Like where your mom would be like, no, mijita. Like ours would just like turn around and be done. So I kind of didn't know like what to do with that kind of stuff. So then that's where like I felt like in my teenage years that I kind of had to start turning it off. Like I had to start turning it off. That.
Yeah, that's. I feel like I started turning it off too during my teenage years because my mom would be like, she wouldn't tell me that either, like, oh, you're not seeing things. She would just ignore me and just kind of just go off. The only person that would actually feed into, like, you know, the things that I would, or actually listen to the things that I would say was my nana. Like, she would tell me, like, yeah, she would tell me, like, you know, don't listen to them, you know, like, because I remember one time too, this was kind of creepy, because I used to share a room with Olga, and I remember one time it was late, and I was asleep, and I swear to God, as clear as day, I heard somebody in my window tell me, hey, come play. Come outside to play. And I woke up, and I thought I was asleep. Like, I thought I was dreaming. Remember how I told you I have really vivid dreams?
Yes, you do.
My nana was sitting on the other bed, because she used to sleep with Olga. And I told her that, and she's like, don't listen to them. That's not, just go to sleep. And then after that, I was like, well, I don't know what the fuck that was, but...
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's wild.
It was creepy. And I would always have fucking nightmares in that mobile home, man. Like, all the time. I don't know why I would have nightmares. And I would, like, go wake up my mom, and she would get so pissed off at me. She'd be like, I'll be like, Mom, can I come sleep with you? I had a nightmare. And she would be like, so fucking bad. She's like, go pray. Go
pray! Go pray the ghost away.
Yeah, and I'm like, I did already. It's not working.
I said so many Hail Marys. Dude.
Yeah, I think my mom was more scared of it than anything.
Yes.
And I was the only one that really listened to me.
Yep. No. They're very scared of it. Susie was like always really scared of it. So like you remember we had that bowling alley, right? In Agua Prieta. So we had that bowling alley. There was a story that went around that there was somebody who died named Charlie, dude. And we would play the Ouija board upstairs. It was bad, like so bad. But I had my own experiences. So I remember we'd always stay super late there, like because Hector would obviously be running the bowl, and he would never take us home when we were supposed to go home. So we'd be going home at 3 a.m, like because he always kept the bowl open afterwards for people to drink and like all that stuff. So I remember I would like fall asleep upstairs in like the lounge area and just like put chairs together and then just like lay down. So like I remember one time when I was there, it was so weird. Everybody was like, it was like like we had a league and half of the people believed and half of the people didn't. And we're like, fine, we're going to do something. We were all like teenagers, like other than Hector, right? But he's basically a teenager. So like we were all teenagers and we're just like, okay, we're going to do something. And some of the guys were like, we're going to call Charlie out. And I'm like, oh, like I knew in my soul, I'm like, you don't go so. Like, I already knew. And I was like, you guys do you then. And I remember the guys were like running back to the back of the machines because that's where people would hear things, in the back of the machines. So supposedly Charlie had died. This was like the story. Who knows if it's even a true story? But the story was that when my dad had the bowling alley in Douglas, that there was a mechanic and his name was Charlie, and that he got pushed into the machine. And way back when the bowling machines would actually go really fast. So like if you got pushed into the back of a machine, like you'd probably get some sort of an injury or probably worse, death. So the theory was that those machines were some of the ones that had gotten brought over to Agua Prieta. But when we had them, they were so slow. Like they moved so slow. Like if you fell in one, you could just stand up and get out of it, like because they were old. So anyways, so the guys went back there, and I remember being with one of my guy friends, and I was just like, oh, I don't know about this. This is not a good idea. And they went back there, and we were like, I needed to go. I felt like I needed to go, and I needed to be a part of it. And they were like calling him out. And they went out, and then I went back after, like, so they were already in the back of the lanes, and I ran after them. And right when I was getting to the door, it shut by itself. And the person I was with, we both looked at each other, and it shut, and we just looked at each other, and I opened it, and we ran back, and they're like, Charlie, all this stuff, and then they went to the other side, and the same thing, as we're coming out, the door shuts, and we're like, did you guys shut the door? And they're like, no, we didn't shut the door. We were like yelling out for Charlie, and it was like, whoa. So that was like one experience I had with the doors being shut, but we had like a waitress or whatever that worked in the back of the food area. Yeah, she did tarot cards too, now that I think about that. But her name was Letty, and she would just always hear her name, Letty. And I was like, oh my God. But that place had some dark energy. There was one time that I saw like a really dark shadow in the very back. Like, so there was definitely dark energy at that place, not positive energy at that place. But like, oh my God, Hector loved playing with that thing, dude. It was, I played the first, like, I was probably like 8 years old when I played with the Ouija board because of Hector. No bueno. No bueno.
Yeah, I heard that it's something else too. Yeah, I mean, that definitely pushes out like the bad.
Yeah, there is like what I've heard is like they're not welcome. Like they're not welcome. You really have like, we don't think we have like the power, but like you do. You have the power to be like, you're not welcome here. Bye. But I wonder about your situation with the come and play. Oh my God.
Oh man, that was fucking weird. That shit was
That's like some Peter Pan shit. The shadow, like, come play outside.
Yeah. I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly how it was. And no, I was like, I was like, there's nobody awake right now. Like, why am I hearing this? And my dad was like, no. She's like, no, don't listen to this. Go to sleep. She's like, there's nobody there. Yeah. You're dreaming. She told me I was dreaming, but I knew I was.
You weren't dreaming.
You
heard it.
I heard what I heard.
You heard it. Ooh.
But I knew she did that so I wouldn't get scared.
Yeah. Just go back to sleep, Mijita. You're just dreaming. Yeah. But that's nice that you had her on her side. So it's funny because like Susie and I were never close when we were younger. We were like never close, right? But she was the only person that like was there for me with all the weird shit. She would always believe me. She'd never question me. But it's because she witnessed it, you know, as we were growing. She witnessed it because like I was never like one to do it for attention. It was what I was feeling at the time. I remember at one of my tia's houses, I saw like a white energy, but I didn't know what that was. It was just like a white energy, even a ball, but just like a mass of white energy. I always was like really scared to go to sleep at that tia's house.
Like a mist?
Yeah, like a thick mist.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever experienced a mist like that. I've seen dark like shadows.
Yeah.
But never a mist.
Yeah, shadow people, that was normal. Hearing things, that was normal. I remember anytime we heard anything, Susie would keep me up. She would like, because I used to sleep with Susie, she'd always keep me up. She'd be like, you stay up and I'm gonna go to sleep. So I had to be like, you be the lookout, I'm gonna go to sleep. And then she'd be falling asleep, and if I fell asleep, she'd get so mad at me. She'd be waking me up, you're supposed to be awake. But then Hector played a big role in like scaring Susie a lot. So then poor Susie was always scared, man. Oh, poor Susie. But like,
scared with you, and then she was scared with fucking Hector.
Oh yeah, and then with Charlie, she was scared of Charlie. She was scared of the bull. Like she didn't like being there really late. She didn't like that kind of stuff. And then sometimes we'd have to go like turn things off. And like I don't know what it was about me, but like I could do shit in the dark. I didn't care. So like if somebody had to go turn the lights off in the back, like I'd be like, Olgi, go turn the lights off in the back, and I'd be like, that's fine. I'd walk that, you know, that bowling alley all the way down to the back and go to the back of the machines, turn it off, and then have to come back out. Like I was never scared. Like I don't know. I mean, now I know why, but like it's just weird because Susie was always so scared, and Hector was like always pretending he wasn't, but he was so scared all the time. Yeah. Oh, he asked when he was gonna die. He knew. Like he asked all that stupid shit. He did all this shit that you're not supposed to. Like now as like an adult, I'm like, oh, you're not supposed to do any of that. It's a portal. You're opening a portal. And the windows, man, windows and mirrors, portals. So you playing in the mirror, I've had so many dreams about mirrors being portals, dude. What happened to your cousin happened to my mom. She said she left warm and comfortable, but then when she found out that whatever it was la llorona, la querían robar. Wait, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm seeing. she found out whatever it was like getting under a lot. They wanted to rob her, man. Yeah. That shit's wild. So like my first experience when I was really young, the one that I can like really, really remember. So I was super sick, high fever. My dad put me in his bed and it was a water bed. And, way back in the day. And all the family was like in the living room. And I remember, like, I don't know if you remember my house, but it was like a hallway from my dad's room, then to another hallway, then to like the open area where the front door is. And then you go straight into the living room. And everybody was in the living room. And I remember just waking up, opening my eyes, and seeing this woman all in white with long black hair standing over the bed. And she was like hovering. And I remember thinking like, if I can see through her, then she's a ghost. And I could see the window behind her. And I was like, oh, she's a ghost. And I freaked out and I put the blanket over me. And then I saw like these two creatures. I don't even know what the fuck they were. They look like gremlins, I swear. They pulled the blanket down. And that's when I screamed. And I remember jumping out of bed and running into the living room. But my sister says that I screamed and everybody ran into the room. So it's like, how is there two stories to this? How is that? And she told me that the woman was really beautiful at first. And then all of a sudden she turned into like a really scary looking woman. And supposedly Susie said that she told me it was my time to die, but I don't remember that. Like, again, that's not even a part I remember in my own. I just remember being scared because she was like there, like, who are you? What are you doing in my room? And then again, like the idea of like La Llorona, was always like, so, that's big in the Philippines too. I had a Filipino friend and I asked, we were just like one night, we were super drunk and we were just like talking about the stupidest, weirdest shit. And I told her about Mexico and like La Llorona. And she's like, oh my God, we have a Filipino version of that. And I was like, what? Is this just a big story to scare the kids?
Yeah, just like
they would her if she wanted to play, but then her dad came and asked who was she talking to because there was nobody there. Oh shit.
See, that's so fucking weird, man. That is so fucking but was it in the middle of the night? That's the main thing, is mine was in the middle of the night.
And it was outside the window.
Yeah, because like my bed was literally like it was my bed and then the window. And then my sister was on bed and my nana used to sit there. And I remember being asleep and I remember waking up and doing that. And then for some odd reason, I don't know why my nana was awake, but she was awake and she told me that. Or maybe I don't know, but it was fun. That was probably the most creepiest one ever that I've ever experienced. No. I've had a creepy.
You're like, wait, no. So the thing I could think about is like yeah, no, that's definitely creepy. Like, I'm trying to think of the window.
Remember I told you, like, I feel like when I'm asleep, this is gonna sound fucking weird, but when I'm asleep, I have like the most vivid and lucid dreams I've ever had. Like, I feel like I'm awake. Like,
okay, so I can help you out here. You are awake, cousin. It's the theta. You're in the theta wavelength where you're like, it's like between alpha and theta, where you're still awake, but you're very much like starting to drift. It's that where your body can do this, right? You feel your body do that. That's because so I'm going to get real weird here. That's because in my perception, it's your spiritual body starting to leave your physical body. And then something happens and it jolts you back to your body. And you're like, oh, no, I'm here. And then you can like go back. And like that happens when you're super tired. When you're like really tired and you can't keep your eyes open. Like if you're on a long car ride or whatever, you're just like, oh my God, that happens where you just like fall asleep and then come back and fall asleep and then come back. It's that like your body, your spirit is like trying to like, bloop. So you're not dreaming. It is like, I call those visions. Those are like visions you're having. You're not dreaming.
Well, then I have them all the time because like literally sometimes there has been one time, I remember one time, I don't know what the hell I was dreaming about, but it was not nice. And I woke up and I didn't know if I was awake or not. I thought I was still asleep to a point where I had to like call a friend and be like, hey, am I awake? And they're like, oh, yeah, you're awake. Yeah.
You're calling me.
Yeah. Because I couldn't tell, like, because my dreams are so vivid and so like the way we're talking right now, like it's just like that, like, and they're sleeping.
Yeah.
And I woke up and then,
Yeah.
so.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's creepy. For somebody to be like, hey, I'm gonna go protect you. No, like my nana used to tell me all the time, if somebody tells you to come, tell them to fuck off. You have to tell them to leave.
Yep. She told him no, because if I go with you, who's going to take care of my family? Oh, how beautiful, Yams. She was like so thoughtful. No, like, oh, that's there's just some stuff. There's some weird stuff, but it's funny that you mentioned windows, dude, because something with windows, there's something like again, like a portal or a sort of doorway in its own regard. I mean, if we believe in crystals, right? Like if we believe in like crystals having energy, you know?
Yeah.
Glass is crystal.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's a crystal. It's a huge motherfucking crystal we got on our on our houses. There's been one experience that I had that was really weird when I was living off the grid. So I was like in the middle of the forest in 2019, 2020. And I was like always outside, always in the nature energy. I was really like in nature, man. I was always barefoot. I was always like talking to the trees. I was just a super like barefoot hippie. Okay. And I remember one night the kids went to sleep and I was like scrolling through TikTok. I was just like online and I'm right next to the window and I so clearly hear, Olgi, can you hear me? And I was like, yeah, I can hear you. And then they said it again. They're like, Olgi, can you hear me? And the person I was with heard it too. And he stood up and he looked at me. He said, who was that? And I was like, I don't know, but you heard it? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh shit. And he like walked outside the house and looked around the house and came back inside. This is like 1 a.m. And I'm like, nobody's out there. It's not what you think it is. It's not a person. It's not like a physical person. And he was like,
You already knew.
I already knew his spirit. And he's like, well, what's that? Is that your friend Mindy? And I'm like, no, she's not here at 1 a.m. Like, no, but he heard it. And that was so validating for me. He's like, I heard it. It was a woman's voice. And I was like, yeah. And then, dude, I was on my phone and it was the weirdest thing. I saw like Justin Bieber, but he looked like really depressed and sad on Facebook. I was like scrolling and it was like somebody was posting some shit about him. And through the phone, I heard, can you see now? Can you see now? And I was like, I've always had this connection with celebrities where like I can sense when celebrities, like I was really big on the whole like Free Britney, not like Free Britney, but I could feel her pain. Like when I'd watch her videos, she did not look okay. She never looked okay to me. Like, I don't know how to explain that. She always looked like she was trapped in her videos. Always. Like Britney Spears, yeah. So then.
Yeah, I feel like even a little bit now still.
Oh yeah, definitely not free. Yeah. So then when I saw Justin, it was the same thing. It was like, can you see? But it was through the phone. They spoke through the phone and I was like holding my phone like, yeah, I see. Like, yeah, it's like, can you hear me? Then it was like, can you see? You know what I mean? It was like can you hear me? Can you see me? Like, oh my God, I see now. Well, why am I going crazy though? What's going on? So that was really weird, but that was really validating that I wasn't like alone in hearing that weirdness. And then when I was with my girlfriend one time, when she had her baby, and she's super spiritual. She doesn't act like it all the time, but we've always heard things together. Whenever we're together, weird shit always happens. And when I went to visit her after she had her baby, she told me, she's like, I've been hearing whispering. And I was like, what? She's like, when I go to sleep at night, I've been hearing whispering. They're not talking to me. I just hear them talking. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, and I've been seeing green and red lights in my closet. Like little green and red lights. Like almost like if you think of like little LEDs. She's like, they turn on and then they turn off. There's no light in her closet. There was nothing that could be like bouncing off of a mirror here into the closet. Like nothing. And I remember like she's my best friend. So like we sleep together. So we go to sleep at night and I fucking hear voices. I hear a woman and man just having a conversation, just talking, completely talking. And it sounds like it's on the other side of the wall. But the other side of the wall is her backyard that's fenced in, that nobody would jump over her fence to then have a conversation right next to her wall. It was the weirdest thing, and it was 2 nights in a row I heard them talking. There's a woman and man just like.
But you couldn't understand what they were saying.
Not like, not words. No.
Like, oh, I know what you're talking about. It sounds like mumbling, huh?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But you know they're speaking, and you can hear the different context of the female to the male, and the different tones of.
And sometimes they speak really, really fast.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
And then in my room, dude, oh my God, like 2 years ago when I was on live, I was fucking on live. I was on TikTok live and we were talking about things, and somebody had said, you have a little girl energy around you. She passed when she was really young. You have a little girl energy. She feels really safe around you and she likes being around you. And I was like, whoa, that's really crazy, because like my ex-husband had a sister, but she passed after 21 days. So she, like, super tiny baby, you know? And they're like, I think that's who it is. Right after we talked about that, I started hearing a little girl giggling against the wall.
Well, that's crazy.
And I was like, oh, I think she's here, guys. It was creepy because little kids are creepy. I don't care what anybody says. Little kids are creepy. Horror movies, I can do horror movies all day long. You put a little kid in the horror movie, nope. Suddenly it's a super scary horror. Like The Children of the Corn, fuck that movie. Hector was obsessed with that movie. Fuck everything about The Children of the Corn.
Hector, God, Hector. He likes all the worst.
It's for real, man.
Like the fucking torture us when we were little.
Oh yeah, I watched way too many scary movies as a little child. Way too many. Like they let me watch all of them, and that's not a good idea. I feel like for somebody as sensitive as I am, not a good idea. I had a lot of nightmares all the time. I was having nightmares like all the time. I don't know how I was not scared, but I was having nightmares all the time. But it got to the point where like I wasn't afraid of the dark though. Like Susie and Hector are afraid of the dark, or were afraid of the dark. I don't know now, but like I wasn't. I did shit on purpose. Like my mom, I don't know if you ever went to our house in Havasu when my mom, after she got married, but like we had a really big house. It was a 2-story house. I lived in the basement or like the downstairs area, basically a basement, but it was like finished. I would walk all the way from the kitchen upstairs to the hallway, to like the foyer, to 2 sets of stairs down, to another hallway, to my bedroom in the dark. I wouldn't turn any lights on because I thought if they can't see me, if I can't see them, then I can't get scared. But I get scared when I could see shadowed people. That was like my thing. If I could see you in the corner of my eye, that would freak me out. So it's like, just turn off all the lights. Ha!
I think that's more scarier than being in the dark and not seeing, like in the cemetery.
I can't see you. Can't get scared.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's way more scary. Also, so that there's no such thing as those kids.
Oh no.
I mean, I've heard of that too. I've heard like certain spirits who could manipulate themselves to be kids.
Shapeshifters, right? I definitely believe there are ghost kids for like Olga. She says she's got a little boy around her.
Oh, I don't like that.
I told her because she's like Mira, I told her because she's like he doesn't like it when okay. Wait, no, let me tell you first. Mira, let me tell you first because I'm gonna validate you right now. I already know where you're going. I'm gonna validate you because she was telling me about this, and she's like, he doesn't like when anybody fights around the house. And I was like, what do you mean, Olga? And she's like, that's the only time he comes around is when people are fighting. He doesn't like. I was like, no, that's not why he's coming around, Olga. He's feeding off of the negative energy, Olga. I don't think that he's a good energy to have around you or the house. Because he doesn't come around when good things are happening. He only comes around when bad things are happening. I try to explain to people, they feed off of us. They either feed off of the positive parts of us or they feed off of the fear, the guilt, the shame, the anger, the hatred. So she's like, no, but he's good to me. And all this stuff. I was like,
No, I don't like him. Whatever the fuck that is that's there. No, and the reason why I don't like it, so what would happen is, I would go over there and I felt whatever that thing was, I felt like it was like super intimidated by me because I wasn't afraid
You're strong. You're strong energy. You're a strong energy cousin.
Yeah. So I was just like, whatever. And for some odd reason, she had this really weird, not anymore because she kind of like broke down a piece of like a wall. It was like a whole room. It felt like you were walking for fucking ever. I think he lived in there, in that area.
It's like a passageway.
Yeah, it was like the worst. Like the way her house is split is like, so it's like the kitchen, and then it's like a hallway, and then it's a room, and then it's another room, and then it's another room, and then a bathroom. So like if you had to go down to her room, you had to like walk, and then the stupid ass light was like all the way on the fucking end. So like if people wanted to turn off the light or turn it on, they had to walk through that hallway. So every time if you go through that hallway, it felt like you were walking down like the longest hallway of your life. And then I remember one time she recorded, they were playing Gallina Ciega.
I know what that is.
And remember, I don't know if you ever played that, like where they blindfold you and then you have to like kind of find. It's like kind of like hide and seek, but you're blindfolded.
No, not I know what it is, but I've never played that.
She said that she was recording, and I saw this video. She was recording like her daughters, like her nieces play, and they were on their hallway, and the freaking camera, it was like going in and out, in and out, in and out.
Trying to focus on something else.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy. I was like, oh no. But every time I was there, even now, like when I go there, I tell her, I call him Norman because I don't like him, whatever that is. He gets really small, but then like when he's intimidated, he gets big. So I've seen him in like small and big.
Shapeshifter. That's not a little kid then.
No, that's what I told her.
That's not a little kid then. Little kids don't change form.
I told her that. I was like, he's nice to me. I was like, he's a fucking asshole. I was like, because when
he's a fucking asshole.
I was like, when I lived there with her for a little bit, he would literally like come into the room and like fuck with me and then leave. And I was like, you're a fucking asshole. Like, get the fuck out of here. And then like at the time when we was with my girlfriend, like if she would come stay with me, she was super terrified of it. So like when she would get there, like he would like go and like fuck with her, so she would get scared. Like he would open doors and leave them open, knowing that she would come out of a room. And I would tell her, I was like, well, that is not.
No, that's not. She's delusional, dude.
I told her, you're fucking oppressed by this fucking thing.
I'm gonna have to tell her. No, dude, there are like, so again, this is just my perspective. There are children energies, and usually children energies are really pure and really innocent, and they're playful to an extent of like, like a little kid that's tricking you, that thinks he's funny or she's funny, but they're not negative. They're not going to be around when there's fighting because they're children. They're still children energies nonetheless. Like, and also I believe that it's weird. They have the choice to be whatever they like age they want to be. Even if they died small, they could be bigger, but they don't shape shift.
Yeah, no, that thing fucking shape shifts.
They don't turn from small to big. They are whatever they decide to be.
I've seen it. Like, and I've seen it in the room and all that stuff and eat. And I would tell her all the time, she's like, well, it's because he doesn't like you. And I was like, well, I don't fucking like him. I was like, because he's probably intimidated by me, so fuck that fool. I was like,
fuck you, Norman.
Fuck that thing.
No, I'm gonna have to message her and be like, "What? I'm telling you, I tried to validate you. I told her right away when she's like, he doesn't like it when they fight. That's when he comes out. I'm like, from my understanding, that's not how it works. He's feeding off of the negative energy. Yeah. He likes the fighting.
Yeah, because when I was there and I even took my dog there, and so like every time like my dog. And then I would be at work, and then every time my dog would like, they would get into it. They would fight, and they never fought. Like they would fight each other, and to a point like where it got really, really bad, and I had to take one of them to the vet. And then like my other dog bit me because she was like super like anxious, and I was like, no, like this energy in here, something's going on in here. I was like, it's bad. So yeah, he would. I don't like him. I've never liked him. Never.
So I love my work. I told you I'm going to interrupt my sleep. No, but
Yeah,
it's true, Yamsy Yams. That's what I try to express to people is like they don't have control over us. They can fuck with us, but you can also tell them to leave, and like when you do it with like when you command, it's like a command. When you command them to leave, they have to leave. The energies are not allowed to stay. There are energies that will stay, but for the most part, most will leave. I try to explain it this way. It's like everything feeds off of something. So like I don't necessarily believe in like bad energies, but it's feeding off of it. It's feeding off of negativity or low vibes or depression, anger. So they're going to want that to continue. That's how that energy works. They're going to want that to be going on so they can keep eating. So like I very well try to explain that, like, for me, like, I feed off of love, dude. I feed off of positive energy. Like, that shit makes me happy. So it's, we all feed off of something. I was annoyed because I couldn't sleep anymore.
That's so annoying when you can't sleep. I hate that.
When it ruins your sleep, yeah. Oh, that's so wild. I've had that too. So like I co-sleep with my kids still, because it's like super comfortable. And I've had a few experiences where I'll feel a presence in the room and my whole body will just be like, you have to leave now. And all of a sudden, like, I can feel, like, I'm not saying it verbally, but I'm telepathically telling this thing. And I get like boisterous. My voice turns into like almost like a man's voice when it in that spiritual place of the commanding. It's weird. It's weird. But I did have one experience as well when I was really probably like 16. I was in my room and I was going to sleep and I had these blue silk sheets. Fucking silk, horrible. I had blue silk sheets and I remember I was like going to bed and all of a sudden up my thigh, from my like feet all the way up my thighs, something fucking touched me, like went like that. And I could feel it because it was the silk, like from my ankles all the way up my thighs. I felt something touch me. I was like, what's this? No, you're not welcome here. Weird shit. I've also had another experience here in my house where I felt something was started to pull the blanket really slowly from the feet of the bed. And that's another experience where I got like really like boisterous, loud, like, you have to go now. You are not welcome here. Because nothing good fucks with you. Usually.
Yeah.
There are instances where there are like spirits that are your grandparents, your ancestors, who do try to fuck with you to get your attention, like open cabinets or do stuff like that. But they'll usually leave you signs in another way that it's them. So like, like then the TV gets turned on to a certain channel or something. Like, I don't know, really weird stuff. Ooh, on that note, I have another experience. My best friend and I, we were watching this little girl, and she was playing with all these stuffed animals, and there was like all these stuffed animals on the table. One of the stuffed animals in particular was a stuffed animal that my best friend's grandmother, I think she called her Opa, her grandmother, gave her. And it had like an electrical box where it like still sang. And her grandmother had died 15 years prior, and that this thing still worked. This bear still sang, like wild, right? And so we're watching this little girl and we're watching a movie, and all of a sudden all the stuffed animals fall off the table. But the little girl says, "Oh no, the stuffed animal fell. The bear, the stuffed animal fell." And we like looked over and we saw that it was all of them. It was like 10 of them. So we're like, "What do you mean? Which one?" And she goes, "That one." And she points right at the bear. None of the other ones on the floor, just the bear. And we both looked at each other because we knew it was her grandmother. Her grandmother would always fuck with her to like let her know she was like still around, still there. But we got scared at that point. We were like, "Whoa, this is so weird." It's so weird. And her lights would always flicker. Her light above her sink, they had to be replacing that bulb every month because it would be going out every single month. It was so wild. Like, I witnessed it too. I'd witnessed it going out, them having to replace it, going out. Like, and I'll get lights in here that flicker too randomly. This one will flicker sometimes. That one will flicker. The one in my kitchen. Super weird. So I just did a foot bath. That's funny. In my head, I'm like, "Bring it, bitch." If I die because of you, bitch your ass, I'm going. Oh my God. You don't know how protected I am in that world. Oh, jeez. Ancestors. Oh my God. I can't believe Olga thinks that thing is good though.
Dude, I tell her even now, I'm like, fuck that. That thing is not good. It's bad. She's like, no, God. He doesn't like you. And I'm like, well, yeah, because he probably knows what I am like that. I can make him go away forever. Like, and speaking of lights, I had like an experience like that with lights. I was living at these apartments at one point in time for a long time, and they it's like really close to like Pima. I don't know if you remember, but Pima West, kind of here in Tucson, like kind of like out in the middle of like the desert in like the Monte kind of.
Pima West, is that where one of the colleges is?
Yeah.
That's where I went, yeah.
Yeah, so I lived in these apartments for, I don't know, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
So this one time, I was outside with my then girlfriend, and she was trying to leave. She was trying to leave because she was going to go home, and I was like, okay. We're sitting in her car, and you know how like apartments have like lights, like pictures on the buildings and stuff? Like at the corner of my eye, I was seeing like the light like flicker, and then it would like something would shoot out of it, and then just flicker and shoot out, and then like things like running like across the street, and I was like, shit. I was telling her, I was like, these are crazy shit's happening outside right now. I was like, crazy stuff. She's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't know, like the lights are being fucking weird, and I'm seeing things that are coming out of the lights, and then she's like, well, I'm leaving, and I was like, okay. So she turns on her car. And I swear to God, like, you only see this shit in movies. Like when someone turns on the car, you know, and then the radio's on and it just starts going by itself. It started doing that. And then like the numbers weren't even numbers anymore. They were just like symbols, like dashes, lines. It was just, and then her car died.
No fucking way.
Her car fucking died. Her car died. So then she got really fucking scared, and she's like, what the fuck? And I was like, dude, I'm telling you right now, like, whatever was happening outside, like, that probably wasn't just happening to your car. So then she called one of her friends. She's like, hey, I need you to come get me. And then she's like, okay, I'll be there. So we were there sitting in the car, you know, waiting. And then her friend comes, and she comes and jumps her. And, like, these fucking jumper cables aren't working.
Something's taking all the energy, dude. Everything feeds off of energy.
Yeah, they were jumping, like the car wasn't starting, nothing was working, and then I was under the hood, you know, trying to do all this stuff, and her friend was right there in her car, and she was like, oh my God, can you turn on the car, you know, give gas, whatever. And then she was like, and then I looked up, and something told me to look up at her, and I looked up at her, and she was like scared, and I was like, what's wrong? She was like, fuck no, I need to leave. We need to get out of here. We need to go. We're not doing this anymore. So she got jumper cable, and she told, you know, my then girlfriend, she's like, we're leaving. And they left. And then the next day, her car didn't even need to get jumped.
It was fine. It started perfectly fine.
It was fucking fine. And then I found out later that apartment complex was built on like a Native American.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, never fucking put the car. So
yeah. I was just going to say, Arizona, so much indigenous, so much spirits there, so many angry spirits there. But they use the energy, man. They use the energy.
That energy to, like, the radio thing is what messed me up. Because I was like, is this really happening right now? Like, am I seeing this?
No, so you were seeing something with the light energy. That's wild. I've never had that before where I could see things coming out of the light. So I wonder what you were witnessing, because it was like using that light energy, and then it started using the car energy. It was like, fuck.
It was like coming closer and closer and closer to us. It was fucking weird because it started like I don't know, like, you know, like when you're looking at something and then at the corner of your eye something catches you have to like turn to look. So like I was like talking with her, we were talking, and then
you just felt the presence.
Yeah, and then even in the side view mirror, like I then so like I kept like turning, and then it would just get closer and closer and closer. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Dude, like this crazy shit is happening outside right now." And
Arizona is definitely supernatural stuff. Definitely.
But yeah, that the light things, they would flicker, and then it like something would like jolt out of there, and then I started seeing like when that would happen, I would see because it was so dark the parking lot or whatever we were in, I would see like shadows walking around, like walking, and then so like.
Oh, you were witnessing it full blown then.
Yeah.
Oh shit! So when I went to my my like psychic retreat, I did like a psychic retreat, and I was hanging out with the two people who ran it. They're called Psychic Sisters, and so everybody had gone to sleep, and I was hanging out with them. And I remember we were outside. It was past midnight, and they were just like they were having like a moment with themselves, like where they were like feeling the energies between them and like talking. And I remember just looking out into the forest. It was beautiful. There was, no lights, no nothing. I just looked out into the forest and I saw all these fireflies, which out here we have fireflies. That's totally normal. And then I saw light energy beings walking through the woods. And I just looked and I saw like what looked like people walking through the woods. And I'm like, but they're all light. So imagine shadow people, but opposite, where you see them like light. And I'm like, I asked one of the psychic sisters, I was like, do you guys see that too? And they're like, yeah, that's spirit. And I'm like, okay. And then one of them told me, she's like, do you know that you have a Native American man around you? And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you have a very tall Native American man. She's like, I thought that you knew that. You have a very strong presence protecting you. And I was like, no. She's like, I thought you were Native American. I'm like, it's that weird, like, well, we're not considered Native American, but a Mexican, but yes, no, Aztec, maybe. And she's like, oh, well, you have a very tall, she said very tall Native American man that is around me, apparently, and protecting me. And I was like, oh, but she's like, yeah, those are forest energies. That was wild. Like, I saw that with it's like shadow people, but with light. Like, so like I said, I saw the light bugs. Like I saw what those look like. I understood what fireflies look like. I know what that looks like. And then I saw more bigger things, masses moving through the trees and through the grass. Like I want to see that again, to be honest. I want to see that again. Huh?
I would have been like, what the heck?
What the heck? Let's see. Contact you guys, but are really beautiful and have amazing smiles. Yeah, it's the family. It's the family. Yeah. So then this one down here, Rippy, are you in the live, baby? So that's my boyfriend, or hopefully boyfriend.
Hi.
This is my cousin. This is Aurelita. Oh, my friend, my Twinnie is in here. Hi, Twinnie. We're just talking about our supernatural experiences, Twinnie. This is like our podcast teaser, guys. Yeah, you're still in the live, baby. Yeah. So many more experiences we could talk about. I love this. This is great, cousin. How do you feel? How do you feel it's going? It's not bad. We've been going for like 40 some minutes. Oh my God. I thought that was funny. I'm going to get some water, guys. I'll be back.
Okay, I'll be right back.
I feel bad. I've totally been forgetting to turn and talk about YouTube. I've been forgetting to come over and say hello to people over here. So this video is gonna be pointless because this is gonna be the side of my head the whole fucking time. What do you mean? So you don't get kicked off? You think you broke your iPad? What happened? And what do you mean? You check your time. What do you mean get kicked off, Rippy? I don't know anything about live, so you gotta further explain. Okay, so we gotta think of a name, guys, for the podcast. And that one girl was telling us she was giving some pretty like good ones. Yeah, so I didn't know what to do. Like she had thought of like collective spirit. I thought that was cool, but I don't know so much about it. And then it was like collective spirit guide, and then I was like, well, maybe optimal spirit guide, or optimal timeline, or ask a psychic medium. So I looked, and there's like ask a psychic, and then there's like ask a medium. So like I kind of tried. So I don't really know what. So click the thing that says live. It shows your time left. But what do you mean your time left? What does that mean? It says an hour and 44 seconds. Well, it's going up. What do you mean time left? We've been on for an hour? What? Oh, this says 56 minutes over here.
Thanks for being here. On this thing, click that where it says live.
Yeah. This is our technical support here.
Mine doesn't show a time.
Okay, mine it says 1 hour, I guess, but on my YouTube it says 57 minutes. So I thought I went on later on here. I don't know. But it doesn't say left. It doesn't say time left. It says time on. Yeah, now we're at 101. You guys should also look into the stories of your followers and like one day out of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that'd be cool, Yami.
Where you guys can send like stories and stuff.
Yeah, send stories, maybe even have like, we could do like cool, maybe like interview style. But that'd be like really planned out. And, you know, we're really good with technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yours are interesting, Yami. Yami Yams, you're awesome, baby. Thank you for encouraging us. Dude, we did it. We did it. Like, how many people talk about this shit and we did it? Woo! High five. High five. I'm proud of us. It is 6:46.
Oh, you're an hour ahead of me.
Okay. Do you have to be off at a certain time? I don't even know how long we're going to let it run for. My little light's starting to die, so I don't know. I can at least get some footage here. I would love to get to a point where I'm actually like filming in scary places. That would be cool. Or like haunted places, right? I would like to do that. There's some haunted places out here. I actually have a book on it. But I think it'd even be funner to like not look up the history, just look up like places that are supposedly haunted, then go there and like feel it out. And then like film, go in there, feel it out, and then film, and then afterwards do the background research to be like, this is what I felt. You know what? It'd be like a really good, almost like compare contrast to the intuition. Like, what did your intuition tell you in comparison to what the history told you versus the opposite of like reviewing it all, then going there knowing everything.
I got you.
Thank you, Yammies. I knew you could. Yeah, I don't know, Rippy. It doesn't say time left, so I don't know what you mean. But
Crazy shit has happened. Yeah, no.
I feel like it's like always the indigenous culture. I'm not saying that like other people don't feel that. I'm not trying to be like segregating here, but I feel like there's a stronger connection with the indigenous culture, like with spirit and with supernatural. Like in Mexico, this is like very normal, right? But in the United States, we're like ghosts don't exist. But then in like Mexico, we have Dia de los Muertos. Like, let's go party with our dead ancestors like at the cemetery for 2 days. Like,
thank you. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, guys. Oh my gosh. So, but yeah, I think it'd be really cool to almost do like a little series of going to places that are like supposedly, you know, haunted, scary places, and kind of feel out the energies and see what would be around there. I mean, Arizona, dude, you got so many. Tombstone would be so fun to go to. I would love. Yeah, Bisbee too. Ooh, Bisbee, the mines around the mines. Ooh, Dios mío. Which are back open, I heard, and that blew my mind. My mind. Pun intended. Did you catch the snore? Yeah, so that one is wild. I was actually showing my boyfriend the mines. I was like, you don't understand this mine. It is fucking massive. And I tried to show him an aerial view. And I'm like, it still doesn't do it justice because there's nothing to compare it to. So you just got to go there and you got to see what I'm talking about. And then you'll be like, holy crap, what the fuck is this? Yes, it's so fun.
It's so fucking weird in there, man.
Yeah.
That energy in there is so weird.
Because it gets to a point where there's like not really a lot of light down there. No. It's dark and cold. It's like 64 degrees. Yeah. I was surprised when they reopened it because I was like, geez, we're really getting to that point. But I heard isn't Bisbee bigger now? Like it's kind of got more life.
Yeah, there's a lot more people in there now. Like a lot more population, a lot more crowd.
Yeah.
They have a lot of different things there now.
I always liked the artist community that was Bisbee. That one house that had the peace sign on the roof. That was like my favorite house ever. Every time I drove by that, I was like, that's gonna be my house someday. That's my house. That's my house. Yeah. I was actually looking at property in Douglas because like my brain's just all over the place with what I want to do, where I want to move, where I want to go. And I saw property wasn't too expensive in Douglas, but I was like, do I want to get stuck in Douglas? Like, ugh. Like, just have a place like there, cool, but like, oh, there's nothing there. And then I was like, well, maybe Sierra Vista. Maybe Sierra Vista because it's like right in between Tucson and Douglas. You know, like I don't know if I necessarily want to live in a big city either. Like Tucson's huge, dude.
Well, I mean, Sierra Vista would probably be good then if you're.
That's where I was born, in that hospital. So I'm like, isn't that kind of funny? Go back where I'm from.
Go back to your roots.
Yeah, go back where I'm from. Yeah. But then Arizona's so hot. No.
Oh, no.
Oh, Cali's so nice. Cali's so nice. I miss Cali, but like Cali's wild too, though. Like how the directions it's going in is really weird. Land's not too expensive though. So like buying land isn't, and then building wouldn't be too expensive. But yeah, like buying homes out there. Yeah, I guess we went in a different direction here. So what do you feel would be like good for the podcast, like title? What do you think?
What did you have? What were your...
Okay, so like I was originally doing like Ask a Psychic Medium. So then people can, chime in questions and we can kind of read questions sometimes of stories, stuff like that. And it could kind of go around that. But then it was like, I don't know if I want to keep it to just that because like I love talking about everything, right? Like keeping it open, just like how I do my TikToks, like everything's open. So then I thought, what about like the optimal timeline? Like what about optimal timeline? And I don't know why that's kind of like, well, that's what I do. I like activate people on their optimal timeline. So then having a podcast that's like optimal timeline, I don't know. But then I don't know if that's like a weird thing. I don't know. Then I had the one girl said like collective spirit guide. And like, that's not, I don't know. That sounds cool, but I don't know. And then optimal spirit guide. Collective spirit was kind of cool. Spirit soul guidance. I didn't like that one. I told her right away. I was like, I don't like that one.
Spirit soul guide?
Yeah. I don't like that one.
Because you want to do it like based off of like just kind of a vast variety of stuff. So what do you mainly want to do it on? Yeah, so you don't stay on that topic and you just do psychic one. Optimal timeline. That's a cool one.
You think so? You don't think that's weird? Like a part?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's weird.
I love it, but I didn't know if that was like too weird. If people would be like, I don't understand. Like people would be like, what is that? And then it's like, well, it's not for you. You don't get it. And then I watched a video that was like, you also want to check if the website's available like later on down the road. So then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, optimaltimeline.com is available. So I thought that'd be kind of cool then, because people would literally like click into like optimaltimeline.com. I'm clicked in. Okay, so but then it'll only stay on that topic if you do the psychic. Yeah, I want honestly optimal timeline all in. So you like that, Yams? You like that? You like that too, cousin?
What do you? Okay, so I don't mind that. That's fine. It's not for them. That's a chill name. But what do you like?
I like it, but I didn't know if it was too weird, and I'm like, I don't want to be too weird. I'm weird. I'm trying to filter how weird I am. Yeah, I like optimal timeline, but I didn't know if that's like a name of a podcast. I don't know. What do you think, Yamsi? What do you think, Rippy? Whoever else is in here, chime in.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Help us. Because I want it to be about anything. I want us to be able to go in like a direction of like, I really like economics and finance and investment even. Like I like that kind of stuff. I like talking about cryptocurrency. I like talking about investing in your money, how to manifest money, the law of attraction, attracting love. I like it all. Fucking life stories, not just psychic stories, life stories. Maybe a positive uplifting stories would be cool, because then people would want to listen to that, like, because it's the opposite of the news, right? Because it's a general topic, because it's optimal. Right?
She's stuck on that.
She likes it. Like Yamsi likes optimal timeline. I'm gonna put that in. Yamsi likes optimal timeline.
She's like, nope, and this is what I'm sticking with, and that's that.
I mean, she helped us get here. I like optimal timeline too, to be honest. And timeline can be when you pop into their feed. And timeline can be when you pop into their feed. Like, what do you mean, Yamsi? Cost. Fucking Revy.
Life stories of the awkward normal. That one's funny too.
That'd be a good another episode. That'd be a good title, not a name for a show. I mean, it could be a name for a show, but I feel like that'd be like. Why do I feel like that's like it's like teenagers?
You feel like it's like a serious kind of name, or you want it to be like a serious, or more like silly, or more like kind of show the personality,
I kind of like that it's like mysterious and vague. You don't like fucking know what is that? What does that mean? What, like, for me, it's like, what does that mean? Like, as in not me, if I remove everything I know about it. If I like am looking through podcasts or looking through fucking shows, like optimal timeline, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I feel like that'd be like clickbait in itself. Like, what are you? Because it's so vague.
it's like for your page kind of thing.
Yeah. For on the TikTok feed, yeah. So what was she saying? She was saying optimal timeline. But the awkward normal, life stories of the awkward. So it can't be too long. That was one thing. It can't be.
What about the awkward normal?
I still feel like that's a title for some reason. I don't know. I'm not seeing that it's like a name of a show, but it could be. But then my brain goes, okay, so this is why. There's already a show called Awkward. That's why. I think my brain's going back, and Awkward is about teenagers. So my brain keeps going to like awkward stories of like teenage years. I don't know. Therefore, they find you in their optimal timeline. Yeah. But I do like life stories of the awkward normal. I'm gonna write that down. Life. I feel like that's a good title and like for a good episode. Yeah, there's a show called Awkward.
Yeah, it's about teenagers.
Exactly. That's why, like, I think that's probably why I'm trying to do something new. But that'd be a good series. That'd be a good episode. But I do think like I want to make it more. I do want to make it more like spiritual and supernatural still at the same time. Where like this is gonna be the place where people can go and hear weird shit, like weird shit they're not gonna hear other places. You know?
Okay, so what if you? Okay, so then what if it's gonna be like weird shit? Welcome to Drywater.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Somebody started talking. I don't know. You started talking and they were talking at the same time, and my brain was like, I can't process. What did you say? I don't know. It was a man though. So what did you say?
No, I'm laughing at Welcome to Drywater.
It's always really bad. Just don't filter your weirdness. It's what's going to help you just be you. Oh yeah, I don't think we could filter the weirdness. You saw us on TikTok. Two old ladies trying to figure out technology. How does this thing work? Is the camera on?
Functional malfunctions. That's a good one too. Functional malfunctions.
What was the other one? Dry water. Oh my god, Rippy.
That awkward moment.
Welcome to Dry Water.
Which one do you like?
I still like Optimal Timeline. I still like Optimal Timeline. One thing I was reading, I was doing some research on was like keep it short. So it said you have to have like what's the value that you're going to be giving, you know, people. And so for us, it could be entertainment, it could be educational. And then it's like what's, you know, education on topics, stories that put spirituality. And then it said keep your name short, memorable, and easy to spell. And then in the description, that's when you can make it like, you know, what it's about. So really keeping it to like 2 to 3 words is important. So that's why it's like ask a psychic medium. Okay, that's pretty cool. But I don't want it to just simply be about that either, where people feel like that's all it's going to be and then people aren't interested in it. I don't know. So then with the Optimal Timeline, it's kind of cool, like because Yamzi said then when it like pops up on people's feeds and stuff. But
Yamzi likes functional malfunction.
Functional malfunction. But it doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing or talking about. Like, it's funny, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I think he was just being more funny. You're doing episodes.
Welcome back to this and that. I feel like
he's just doing, but maybe you're doing episode names. We don't need episode names. We need the name of the podcast. You're doing great with the episode names. Fantastic. I'm writing them down. Yeah. So this and that is good. This and that. That one's an interesting one. This and that. We'd have to look that up.
Spanish.
Eso y eso. What? Or it could be eso y ese. What are the dogs saying? What are they saying?
She's trying to be a big on that outside. So.
She's fighting. This is my territory. This and that. Rippy. No bueno. No bueno. No last year. I kind of like this and that, actually. I kind of like this and that. What do you think? This and that. Let me see if that's available. I don't know. I guess I feel bad. I haven't.
A little bit of, you can do like this. When I was thinking about was like doing it a little bit about, of everything. That's something that speaks to you. If I stay doing this with you, something that speaks to me.
Yeah, so I was listening to somebody that was like, just make sure that you don't get stuck in the name where like you can't get out of that. So like that's why I'm like, well, psychic medium's cool, but I don't want to get stuck in that where like then we're only talking about that stuff, which I could talk about all day long, but I do like talking about so many other things all over the board. Say it like you're doing the into to see if you like it. Welcome back to this and that. Is that what you're saying? Eso y eso. I like it in Spanish. Stupid.
In Spanish, it's better. Welcome back to Eso y Eso.
People will be like, are those your guys' names? No. Yeah, we'd have to check it out. I have you experience restless night and end up finding out it's trying to get to. Wait, what? What did she say?
And find out it's a past family member trying to get to you.
What do you mean? Like, trying to wake you up?
Like, stuff and things.
Stuff and things.
Cositas.
Cositas y cositas. Cositas y cosotas. What would Hector call it?
Oh, that. Right. Yeah, you should probably go into your Hector brain and figure out what you would call this.
What would Hector call it? Hey, mijo. Will you tell me a name that I can use for my podcast? What did he call his? Like Channel 5 News. Bringing you the news. So he'd cut out the news stories from the newspapers. So cute. It's so cute. So that is actually really good too. It's catchy and easy to remember. Okay, so then we would have to we'd have to check if that's available. This and that. Through the podcasts, through different searching podcasts. Hi, kitty. Hi, kitty. Things said.
He's like, no, it's my turn.
You've been on this thing forever.
I know.
Things said. Things said sounds like bad. It sounds like something you say when you're breaking up. Too many things were said.
Intrusive thoughts.
Intrusive thoughts. Intrusive spirits. You couldn't sleep because I was being constantly triggered and turned out to be my granddad trying to get in contact with me. At nighttime? Right before bed? What's he doing right before bed? You're like the most susceptible right before bed, probably, depending on what time it was, Yamsy. But what did he want? Hi, Mika, just thinking of you. That's funny though. Yeah, well, we could keep thinking about the name. But I wasn't able to sleep for like a week. Jeez. That's a message then. Like, what was he trying to say? Because that's not just That's not just a simple contact then. That's like something big must have happened in your life. They only come like that when something big is happening to you. Oh, that's interesting. There's a song called Una palabra no dice nada. Palabras. But then white people wouldn't understand. Like, no offense to white people. They'd be like, I don't know how to spell it. They did say it had to be easy to spell. It has to be easy to short, memorable, and easy to spell. White people aren't gonna get that. They'll be like, I don't remember how to spell this podcast. I'm sorry. I'm being disrespectful to the white people.
Chingaderas y medio.
Definitely for the Mexicans. Definitely for the Mexicans. Thoughts after dark.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one.
Really? What do you guys think? Thoughts after dark? That's not too long. That's okay. Because then that can really be anything. That can be scary stuff, supernatural stuff, but then it can be just weird, stupid shit. I like that. But yeah, I like the idea of like traveling around and going to like scary places. I think that would be really fun. And I've talked to like Rippy about when he comes out here doing stuff like that, possibly going and filming in random locations. But Arizona would be so cool because there's so much. I mean, I don't really know about out here. I'm sure there's shit out here, but like Arizona, there is. The energies are there. The energies are really there. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, I like that. Thoughts after dark.
Yeah. You don't think people are gonna be like thought like that hot thing or whatever?
Oh, I don't tell about THOTS.
Yeah. Like thoughts after dark. No, that's not what we mean. I mean, we could play on that, but he wants me to understand that I deserve happiness and that it's okay to be happy, and he's proud of me. I handled all my trauma, and he's oh, qué bonito. Oh, Yamsi. So it was something really big and important. I was going to say, they only come for really big and important things. Okay, I think I'm going to hop off the YouTube. It's at 1 tweet. 1, 2, 3. We're going to end the stream here. Boop, boop. I don't know how many people we had. I feel